Capology, the study or science of salary caps.
And the only podcast breaking down the NFL salary cap.
Go beyond metrics, analysis, and game tape, and dig deeper.
With Jason Waltner.
We called him the Legion of Whom, right?
An episode before I even joined the show.
Yeah, that's when it was good.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew Moss.
He is 1 or 2 Popeyes biscuits away from being a tight end.
And Troy Olsen.
We're gonna get there. Actually, that's next. Calm down there, Andrew. Let me host. I'll get you there.
Okay.
The NFL is a business.
Show me the money.
And it's time to go to class.
The Capology 101 podcast.
Part of the Factory Sports Network.
And powered by DynastyFootballFactory.com.
You know what they say, that money calling, that money on the phone.
Hey, we got to cash in, man. We got to cash in.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 56 of the Capology 101 podcast, a podcast where we break down the salary cap to give you an edge over your league mates. My name is Troy Olsen. I am at DFF Voice. I'm here with Andrew Moss at NFL Sharp Tampa. How's it going, Andrew?
Doing great. Living the life.
There, that time I really did announce you before Jason. And of course, we've got Jason Waltner at DFFJ Waltner. How's it going, Jason?
Hey everybody, it's Troy. Thanks for listening. We did have a small audio problem with Jason's mic, and nothing that he said recorded. Apparently it showed it was recording, but it did not. So technical issues, apologies. He does join us a little bit later in the show.
I hate it when the atomic bomb goes off inside your computer, and that's the end of it.
Get a new hard drive.
That's no fun.
That's why solid state drives are the new wave. They crash much less.
While I'm sitting over here with my pile of 10 old school hard drives, just running them in RAID, hoping that, when one dies, I just throw it away. And
hoping that the whole Amazon cloud collapses and you're the only person that has any data.
Right. But nobody cares about any of this, so let's get to business. In today's episode, we're going to bring you news and notes that affect the NFL teams and their salary cap, along with your salary cap leagues. But first, let's have a quick announcement here from DraftKings.
DynastyFootballFactory.com has it all. Impact articles, a full scope of fantasy football rankings, ADP, and exclusive members-only access to Factory Sports Slack channel, Dynasty, Redraft, IDP, Devi, and even DFS. A Factory Sports membership unlocks it all. And annual memberships are free. That's right. We've partnered with DraftKings to bring you your annual sports membership for free. Just go to DynastyFootballFactory.com/shop and click on the DraftKings membership promo. Sign up for your DraftKings account, deposit just $20, and you'll receive a free $10 bonus and free Factory Sports annual membership. Eligibility and restrictions apply. See website for details. So act now and become a Factory Sports member for free. Visit DynastyFootballFactory.com/shop today.
All right, guys, time for some loose change. What's shaken isn't much. There wasn't actually a whole lot that happened in week 4. Mitchell Trubisky went down and Chase Daniel came in and actually looked like a halfway decent quarterback. Moss, are you thinking it's the renaissance of Chase Daniel?
I mean, Chase Daniel is one of my favorite college quarterbacks of all time, but I would doubt it. Just based on if you look at the contracts, Chase Daniel's in the last year of a 2-year, $10 million contract, very average contract for a backup quarterback in the NFL. Trubisky is still on a rookie deal, so they have till the end of this is third year. So they have one at the beginning of next year. They're going to decide whether or not to pick up his 5th-year option. So they have Trubisky under control for potentially 2 more years. So just based on, and the 5th-year option, of course, is fully guaranteed. So they are locked in for Trubisky for at least 1 more year and most likely 2 more years. So I'd say I doubt it. I doubt a Chase Daniel renaissance, even though Trubisky hasn't been playing that great. I doubt a Chase Daniel renaissance in Chicago. They could still obviously draft someone, and that would be the caveat if they're picking high in the draft. We was just talking about this before the show, that 2020 and 2021 are going to be great quarterback classes. So it's a matter of if they're picking high enough to draft somebody they see as a franchise guy to replace Trubisky. But without a replacement, they'll most likely pick up the 5th-year option. Tony Pauline says that Love is the favorite to be the first quarterback drafted. I think he goes back to school personally because he's had a little bit of a rough season. I could see him as somebody that goes back to school and transfers as a grad, because he'll be a grad transfer, so he can play immediately and transfer to any Division I 1A school.
So my question to you guys is how much of a kerfuffle would Pittsburgh be in if Ben Roethlisberger retires? With this elbow issue, being a quarterback in all Moss, I'm pretty sure it's pretty important to have a good elbow, isn't it?
Whether he retires or not, they don't have a first round pick. And they're definitely going to, even though Mason Rudolph put up decent box score stats this last week, A, was against Cincinnati. B, after his first 15 or 20 passes, he had like 42 air yards. So they're clearly not, and pretty much all of them were on the Deontay Johnson touchdown. So they're clearly not trusting him to throw the ball downfield in the tight windows. So it's going to be a matter of, does the confidence in Mason Rudolph increase as the season goes on? Or are they going to be, because they don't have a first round pick this year, they'd be in a bridge situation where they're maybe going to get a Chase Daniel or a Nick Foles or some bridge type quarterback that will get them 2 years into when their rookie quarterback is ready or they can draft one.
Wouldn't you just rather keep Rudolph at that point then and just let him just suck?
Yeah, I guess he'd be cheap and bad.
I'd say he'll still get you that top 10 pick if he's playing, because clearly Pittsburgh feels so great about him that they threw in the Wildcat. And
yeah,
I think Jalen Samuels had as many quote unquote passes as what's his name did?
As Rudolph? Maybe not quite, but
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Josh Dobbs, they couldn't beat out Josh Dobbs, they ended up trading for a 5th round pick, was a miracle they were able to get a 5th round pick for him, really speaks volumes.
But I'm looking at Big Ben's contract. I mean, if they were to make him a June 1st cut, I mean, they would have a $12.5 million dead cap hit in 2020 and 2021, but they would save $21 million to the cap.
What about reserve retired? Does that work the same as cutting them?
Yes, sir.
I know in that case you still own the rights.
Right. Yep.
Quarterback could fall to the second round with as many skill position players there will be in the draft this year, not to mention offensive and defensive linemen, other IDP players that most people don't look to in fantasy. You don't see a situation where a quarterback falls to the second round?
Depends what pick they have. I mean, you could definitely see a scenario where they trade back up into the back half of the first round, because then they'll have the fifth year option control. I think that's much more likely than them waiting till the second round to get somebody. That's just, especially with quarterbacks, that 5th year of control is such a big thing that they would trade into 30 or 31 or 32 just to have that, even if it's like their second round pick, quote unquote.
So here's my question though. So I guess it depends on how everyone feels about Jalen Hurts, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually.
He's climbing up the boards.
I haven't watched him yet, but not good. It was his Alabama tape.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, Dane Brugler, he came out with a top 60 just to include Jalen Hurts in his rankings.
I think there's a lot of time to figure out how the quarterbacks are going to stack up. But I definitely think it's important to note that if they're going to take a guy like Hurts or a guy who you think was a second round type guy, it will most likely be through a trade to back the first round for that 5th year option. Look at what the Vikings did for Bridgewater, or what the Ravens did for the other Louisville quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
They just love going after Louisville quarterbacks, huh?
Two Louisville quarterbacks that were absolute steals.
Right, but I mean, talking a little off topic here, I mean, the person who really gets hurt here, I guess, ultimately is Juju Smith-Schuster.
My dynasty player one.
Moss doesn't want to hear that. But for real, man, I mean, that's what sucks about receivers, man, is because all they need is one QB injury, and they go from being awesome to being, nothing.
We talked about this last week, how he's locked in they have him at 20. He's about to get a new contract, too, because he's due up 2019, 2020. So there's an option for there to be an out, but not really. I mean, obviously, they're going to give Juju a new contract.
So let me step in on that real quick, because last week when it was just you and I and Jason wasn't here, and I'd like to get Jason's opinion on this. You had mentioned that the Steelers don't like to pay their big money players as far as like the running backs have been. They kind of just move on from players. What kind of contract are we going to see for Juju? Because he's going to get paid in a big way. Isn't he?
I think we'll see a market resetting contract potentially. I think we will see a market resetting contract because it is at a much more premium position. If you look at Le'Veon, or you look at, the Antonio Brown, there was clearly some stuff going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. But Juju is still, what people always forget is that he's still only 22, and he's had 2 really productive years in the league already. And he's under contract through 2020, so most likely in the 2020 offseason, before the 2020 season, we will see him get a new contract. If you look at the Mike Evans, the Odell contract, I mean, that's going to be where Juju's money is. He's one of the best 5 or 10 receivers in the league.
Yeah, but that was with Big Ben, though. You know what I mean? Like,
It hurts his fantasy value, but the Steelers as a team are still going to sign him to a new deal.
yeah, but the thing is with the Steelers is they don't mind giving the AAV. Their issue is with the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
That's always been their issue. They don't like to give a lot of guaranteed money. So
what do we think of Juju deal? Do you think they're going to offer him like maybe north of $20 million AAV to offset the guaranteed money?
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But if I'm Juju Smith-Schuster, do you want to do that?
Of course not.
Of course not. So I mean, we could be in a situation where he's the franchise tag. Hey man, look, if I'm Juju Smith-Schuster and I'm 22 years old, I mean, he can get a 5-year deal and he can still cash in like crazy again after that.
Cash in 2 full market resetting deals.
But the thing is, I don't know, man. Just Pittsburgh, they don't like to set the market.
Who have they signed to long-term deals? Did Cam Hayward get a long-term deal? He got a long-term deal. Yeah, Cam Hayward got 6 or 59. You're right, though. Only $15 million guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying, man. Pittsburgh, they don't like to give that guaranteed money, man. You know, all their top guys. I mean, I'm looking even at Steven Tuitt, 5-year, $60 million deal, 12 million AAV, but he only got 13 guaranteed.
That is interesting. I didn't realize that even the guys they did get done were low guarantees.
Did they end up paying those guys, or did they cut them halfway
they're both
through?
still on the team. I mean, Tuitt is a young guy too, and Hayward is.
At least they're showing the willingness to keep him on the team and not cut him.
Yeah, but the thing is when it comes down to it, you're a player, man. You want that guaranteed money, and if Pittsburgh's not going to pay it, there will be someone who will.
Sure, but there's also a trust factor. If you trust who you're working for, then maybe you're willing to do it.
I think that part of that was that they were a winning franchise. I think that the trust factor is going to be decreased a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see how these next set of negotiations go now that the Steelers are not negotiating from the position of strength, saying we win, we make the playoffs every year.
And then imagine also if you're Juju Smith-Schuster and Big Ben retires, you're like, who's going to be throwing me the pill?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe going to a team with a lot more cap space with maybe.
Can I project him to the same team that I project every other receiver to because they have a lot of cap room?
No.
The Indianapolis Colts.
I was about to say the Colts.
Jason knows. Jason's been around.
Is it close enough for him to ride his bicycle from Pittsburgh to Indianapolis?
Yeah, but the situation there with Indy too is they don't have a quarterback.
Oh, I disagree. I think Brissett's shown his worth.
Really?
I think he can do just fine in that system. I think he will be just fine.
I'm not gonna lie.
The fact that
I've always been a Brissett fan. I mean, obviously, I think he's good enough. He's not great. He's not bad, but he's good enough.
I think something interesting is that T.Y. Hilton's production hasn't dropped off. Not saying that he is a good or bad quarterback. He is shown that he did it when Luck was injured in 2016 or 2017, that he can support a high volume receiver. So whether he's good or not, it does seem like that there's going to be a difference between a guy like Brissett and a guy like Mason Rudolph who isn't going to support a high volume receiver.
And then I'm happy that, and he's not on anymore, but I would love to get Hawks on again to ask him how his boy Ebron's doing.
Ebron had a long touchdown last week.
How sustainable is one 40-yard touchdown every game?
Obviously. How sustainable are all those dumb shovel pass touchdowns?
That's what I'm saying, man. So, like, all those Ebron believers out there, I
wasn't on here, of course, but I was throwing dirt on Ebron and Jared Cook long before they were garbage.
No, but it's fool's gold every single freaking year, the Aaron Rodgers tight end. They give him enough money to make it look like that, or the Drew Brees tight end. Can edit that out. Every single year with the Drew Brees Drew Brees tight end.
Minus Jimmy Graham. Minus Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, that's true.
But still,
now the Aaron Rodgers tight end.
But then that's even a point, man. Like, look, Jimmy Graham was awesome in New Orleans. He goes anywhere else, and he's a bystander.
You know what? He is 94 years old, and he is still putting up points over in Green Bay, so you can't take too much from him.
No, I can't. But
Hey, did you know he played basketball?
yeah, he played at Miami, and all they brought him in for was for fouls.
Yeah, it was a joke because the announcers every game, whenever it's Antonio Gates or Jimmy Graham or any other basketball tight end, that's all they talk about.
There's somebody that played polo now too, and I cannot for the life of me remember who that was.
What?
Yeah, there was a player that played polo, and they mentioned it on one of the broadcasts because I guess that second sport just makes you so much better at football, you know. But I think we've kind of gotten off the rails today, which is going to be okay. But we're going to take a quick break here. We got to go talk to the Scouting Academy, and we'll be right back.
Scout NFL football like a pro. Invest in yourself and get a degree in player evaluation and assessment from the Scouting Academy. They've educated NFL GMs, personnel directors, and dozens of NFL scouts. Enroll today and you'll watch the same game tape NFL coaches watch. You'll learn to look past the metrics with position-by-position analysis. This is a time-tested curriculum, a chance to learn from the NFL execs and coaches. Sign up today and get a Dynasty Football Factory exclusive discount for limited time only. Save $50 when you sign up at dynastyfootballfactory.com.
And that's the Scouting Academy. Go check them out. Great discount offer in there. Check them out. It's a great organization. It can teach you a lot of really good things. So, guys, let's talk about a couple other things today. One thing that we had talked about that we found very interesting, just in a pre-show conversation, was what is going on in the cornerback market. We haven't seen that get reset the way that the other positions have been reset in years. Jason, when was the last time the cornerback market actually had a reset?
I really can't tell you because, we were talking before the show. I mean, you look at Nnamdi Asomugha when he signed with Philly. We're still pretty much in the same range, and that was what, like 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2011, and Asomugha got 60 over 5, which is a 12 AAV. Which in 2011 when he signed that contract, that was 10% of the cap. That's the equivalent of a tight end getting $19.8 million in 2019 dollars, and right now the top corner I think is being paid 17. We're still waiting for that 20 or 21 million kind of guy to reset the market, and it seems like it's coming up. And we talked about two guys last week, and Jalen Ramsey and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minka's a little bit different deal because he plays strong safety and free safety and slot corner, who may reset that market when they come up for contracts.
Well, right now, for cap hit wise, Jalen Ramsey is a 28th cornerback.
Yeah,
but dude, so I'm looking at cap hits right now, just pure cap hits. I mean, I can go to AAV if we want, but I mean, the highest cap hit this year is Darius Slay at almost $16 million.
Yep.
And I think we all can agree that Jalen Ramsey is way better than Darius.
I would not say way better.
Right, not way better. He's better.
Wasn't Darius Slay, when he signed that contract, wasn't he Jalen Ramsey though?
He's had several good years. I mean, I think they were kind of around the same time as Jalen Ramsey's best years.
I'm just saying that's the player. Slay used to be the player that Ramsey is now, where he was the player that everybody looked at when you looked at guys that you did not want to match your fantasy wide receivers against. You did not want him going against Darius Slay. That doesn't seem to be the case as much anymore. I mean, he doesn't. It's not as bad. I mean,
he's injured.
Fell off, but he wasn't doing that great before he got hurt.
So here's the issue with Jacksonville, is that they have another corner on their roster, AJ Bouye. Yeah,
AJ Bouye, who's really dropped off.
He's a $13.5 million AAV. So if I'm Jalen Ramsey and he's getting $13.5 annually, I'm like, dude, I'm not worth way more than that, but I'm at least 50% more than that.
Puts you at 20.
Yeah, puts you at 20. So, I mean, that's the issue they're looking at right now, is because they have such a high, not a high guy. Well, I mean, he is one of the top paid corners in the league still. So, I mean, that's the issue that they're going to be dealing with. And do they want to have two corners at basis? I mean, you add them together, they're going to be at what, almost $33 million between the both of them?
So we talked about the potential Jalen Ramsey trade ad nauseum last week, but I think it's something interesting to see is that Jalen Ramsey has specifically said he wants to go play for a winner. So I think it'll be interesting to see if he will take a non-market resetting deal, 17 or 18 million potentially.
Your team can step up in there. The team you always
play for a winner.
The team you always love to talk about with cap space can step up on in there pretty easy.
When you said your team, I thought you were talking about the Bucs, but yes, the Colts. I mean, any big time free agent, the Colts can be linked until they spend their cap room. And same with the Dolphins. Dolphins are going to have 130 to 160 million dollars of cap space next year.
Yes, they will.
We talked about the Dolphins a lot last week, and that's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see how they get to the floor. I have never been interested in the Dolphins, but I am really, really interested in the Dolphins this next offseason just to see how they get themselves to the salary floor. Because I love the salary floor. I wish they had that in every sport. And I love the salary floor and I love the salary cap when they're together like this. In football, I think that is the one thing that the NFL does really, really well. And I can't wait to see how Miami gets back.
Well, signing Jalen Ramsey would really help. And being Flores is from the Belichick tree. You know, Bill Belichick loves to have a shutdown corner.
Coverage over pass rush.
I mean, he's pretty much always had one, hasn't he?
You go back to 2007, they had Asante Samuel, and then they had
even go before that, Ty Law.
You are right. And they've had Devin McCourty, who's played corner and safety for them.
Ty Law was amazing.
And you got, and they had Malcolm Brown or Butler.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler, who was good for about 1 year.
Hey, it was still one good year, and then they went and got Steph Gilmore.
Yep.
Who struggled at first, but he's
balling out.
He's definitely coming around as one of the better corners right now. So, yeah, man, I don't see why Miami wouldn't be a big play. And guess what? Same state, no state income tax.
Better location than Jacksonville, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That whole winning issue. He's got to believe that they're going to be a winner, though. And I don't see that first year out with Miami. But like we talked about last week, Miami's going to get 2 shots at this. They're going to get a chance to reset next year. And then if they don't like their reset next year, they're going to get a chance to do it again in 2021. And if they can't figure it out, I mean, this is such good draft classes. And we talked about this a lot last week. Please go listen to that show if you haven't. They have a really good chance of getting really good in 2 to 3 years. It just depends on how long those college guys take to get up to NFL speed.
And you got to pick the right guy.
Of course. That helps too. They've just got a lot of tickets. I mean, when you're playing the lottery, it helps to have a lot of tickets, and they've got a lot of tickets.
A lot of darts to throw at that board, huh?
And a lot of money. All the cliches. So, avoiding getting back on Miami for an hour again, let's talk about something that Jason knows near and dear, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, I thought he was going to be signed for sure. He has played some football.
Dude, I'm
Jason, how much
sure
money is he getting?
You're wrong. You don't think you should, if you don't want to sign Dak right now, you are wrong.
Then you know what? Then you know what? I'm wrong, and I'll say I'm wrong. I'm sorry, man. I still see him missing throws. Still see him missing wide open guys. He is getting better now. The thing with him though, he's only 26. I'm watching. Listen, man. Yes, we are watching the same game. Trust me. He's missed guys. He definitely has. And I mean, the only good thing I can say about him, he's only 26 years old, and that's extremely young for a quarterback. So, I mean, I'm just hoping he can get. But it's just my thing is with him, man. You need a top offensive line. You need a top wide receiver. You need one of the best running backs in the league. Like, how good can you really be?
Hey, I have a secret to tell you.
Like, let me ask you, Moss, straight up, seriously.
Straight up, let me tell you a secret.
Go ahead.
Well, the plays that they involve Zeke in have a negative expected point average, expected points added per drive.
That's not Zeke's fault. It's just because, like, last game.
It's because running plays are bad. This is what it comes down to. You use running backs on running plays, and running plays are bad, especially early on first down. So ideally, you use the running back less, and if it takes having a quote-unquote worse running back to use the running back less and make your offense better, so be it. So throwing the ball is good. You want to have a quarterback you can
Tell me this then. How come every time a team has an awesome running game, they're awesome? Like, for example, the Minnesota Vikings.
So let's talk about this. You run the ball when you're already winning. You do not run the ball to get a lead. That's the whole correlation causation thing. You get a lead and then you run the ball. That's why, when this team runs for X number of yards, they win. It's really this team gets a lead and then they run for X number of yards.
No, see, I will agree with you on the Dallas Cowboys that apparently they run on 59% on first downs, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with you.
And it's increased. It's increased from the week one.
Right. But that's not so I have a question. So that doesn't have anything to do with scheme wise either? Because like against the Saints, I think they only ran two run plays outside the tackles.
I mean, I can't speak to the Cowboys scheme. I haven't watched a lot of Cowboys film. I haven't watched a lot of Kellen Moore. That could be an adjustment on something they saw versus the Saints.
I mean,
but I would throw more on first down.
No, I agree with you on that. But here's my thing again, Moss. So let me ask you, if you're a quarterback, so let me ask you this. How much of deficiencies do you think Dak Prescott can make up for? Do you think he can make up for a bad offensive line? Do you think he can make up for a bad running game?
Considering that I would rather run the ball way less than what they are currently doing. Yeah, I think the offensive line is much.
And do you think Dak Prescott can make up for not having a number one receiver? Because we've seen it before. He didn't.
Oh yeah, Devin Smith is so good. I forgot.
Last year when the Cowboys wanted to do receiver by committee.
So the Cowboys last year had a big old anchor on Dak, and his name was Scott Linehan. Now he's gone. So let's see what he can do with a real offense.
Right, but my whole thing is, so do you think we'd be
okay?
Do you think he would be as good without Amari Cooper?
Yes, I don't think. I think obviously it makes some difference. I think there's some plays that Amari makes the average, but it's not that Amari is consistently bailing out Dak. But again, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're comparing Dak to a replacement level quarterback. You're looking at a Nick Foles was the replacement level veteran this year. There's a big difference between. I would rather have Dak than Nick Foles and some additional pieces on defense.
Really? I mean, maybe not Nick Foles, but a guy I kept bringing up, and I asked you on Twitter. I mean, how do you think Teddy Bridgewater would be behind this offensive line and everything?
I mean, I think Dak is materially better than Teddy Bridgewater. Also,
it wasn't last week. I don't know, man. I mean, just to give him $40 million.
If you just to use the single quarterback stat that I use in my NFL spread calculator. Hold on one sec here.
I just don't think Dak is. I just don't think Dak is worth $40 million. I just don't.
So I use average net yards per attempt to calculate the NFL spreads. It is the single stat out of all the ones I use. There's like 30 stats that I use to calculate the scores for every game. Average net yards per attempt is by far the most important on all the feature importance tests that I do. Dak Prescott's career average net yards per attempt is 6.78, which is in the top 10 of the NFL. It puts him just above Jared Goff, just below Phillip Rivers, above everyone else pretty much, other than Lamar Jackson and Mahomes and Brady and Watson.
Rodgers, he's not above Rodgers?
Yeah. Rodgers, Wilson are above 7. But Teddy Bridgewater comes in at a 5.52, around where Eli Manning is. And there's such a big difference between Joe Flacco or Teddy Bridgewater and a guy like Dak Prescott and what he is able to bring. So let me ask you this, all right? And
I'm a Cowboys fan, and this is blasphemy to say. But do you think a quarterback that is highly cerebral, like Eli Manning, you don't think he could produce behind this offensive line?
I think that Eli Manning was never really that good. I mean, this is going way off topic, but if you look at his DVOA, if you look at the advanced stats, I mean, on the eye test, I never thought he was good. I've been calling for him to be washed for 5 years, but he's had like 3 top 15 seasons in his career. Like most seasons, he has been a below average quarterback.
I agree with you there, but I just don't think Dak is worth $40 million.
every single quarterback right now is underpaid in terms of the percent of the offense that belongs to the quarterback. They will probably be underpaid for 2 or 3 more market resets. Patrick Mahomes is going to get $50 million, and he's still going to be underpaid.
That's ridiculous. How will he be underpaid? I don't understand how he's going to be underpaid at $50 million. I don't get it.
Because if you're looking at your overall cap number, which next year is going to be $200 million, and if roughly or $220 million, even if Patrick Mahomes is 25% of the cap, he is responsible for more than, if you look at the what percent of the points, the expected points added belongs to each position group, he is worth that percentage of the total overall points. It just breaks the conventional wisdom, but that is what people are starting to prove.
If he didn't have no offensive line or nothing, he has no. You know what I'm saying? If he has a guard, like I don't.
What appears to be being proven is that a great quarterback and a replacement level around is better than a great roster and a replacement level quarterback. So locking in your great quarterback is the most important thing. Your starting level quarterback or better.
I don't know, man. I just don't know. Because we've seen so many quarterbacks get huge deals and then just the whole team falls apart after that.
Which specific examples are we talking about here? Yes, I wrote an article where I did my own research and advocated and did say that they have to be able to elevate about 2 to 3 position groups that you're going to go from above average spending to below average spending on. I will give you that. But losing your young quarterback, if he is anywhere above replacement level, is way worse than downgrading on 2 or 3 position groups.
Yes, man. I mean, I understand your points. It's just
we'll do this with a big player. What about? He just got a new contract. But would you rather have Teddy Bridgewater and Jalen Smith over Dak? I certainly wouldn't. Would you rather have Teddy Bridgewater and Byron Jones over Dak?
Here's the thing, man. If you're not stopping anybody, you're not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So you need defense. And I don't care what anyone, Moss, you can sit here and talk about points all you want, man. Defense wins chips.
Defense is largely a function of the offense that they play. Look at the Packers defense. The Packers defense that was so good for the first 3 weeks because they played the Bengals and the Bears and who's another bad team, and they play a real offense.
Can't you make the same point? Can't you make the same point about Dak Prescott? You know who they played so far?
Not as much. No, offense is a lot more stable week to week than defense is.
No, I know, but I'm saying who the Cowboys played so far? We played the Giants, the Redskins. Who the heck did we play before that too? Can't remember right now. The Saints we lost to. I can't remember who the third team we beat was. But I mean, we haven't played. We played one good defense so far, and Dak looked dumb as hell.
All I am saying is that throughout Dak's entire career, the numbers have suggested that he's much more valuable than you are making out.
No. I'm not saying he's not valuable. He's not $40 million valuable. That's my thing. You want to pay him $30? I'm cool with it.
It's about how much you value the quarterback position. I clearly value the quarterback position much higher than you do, based on the evidence that I've seen. And even from my own, like the little bit of research I've done with the spread calculator, it has shown that the only thing that really moves the line is if it is a quarterback change.
I'll agree with you on that.
And if that is the most important position, you need to do whatever it takes to lock up your guy at the most important
$40 million.
Zeke who? Dak who?
I mean, I'm looking at Dak Prescott right now, and his calculated market's $33.9 million. And then we still got to sign Cooper too. Like, God damn, we still got to sign Cooper. We still got to sign Byron Jones. We still got, you know what I'm saying? There's a bunch.
Do you want? We'll put this out a poll on Twitter. Do you want Bridgewater or / Nick Foles / Chase Daniels / whoever,
or they could draft someone,
Cooper and Byron Jones or Dak? I want Dak. Team. 2 words. Team building timeline. That's what you don't want to screw up there.
We have all of our guys, like our whole offensive line is locked up for a long time. The whole offensive line. I mean, if we just sign Amari Cooper, he's going to be locked up for a long time. Zeke just got locked up. Jalen Smith just got locked up. If we sign Byron Jones, he'll be locked up for a long time. So, like,
if they're all locked up and you draft Tua or Justin Herbert or Jordan Love or whoever it ends up being,
what about Jake
plays
Fromm?
Like Dwayne Haskins? Okay, Jake Fromm sucks, but it doesn't matter who it is. And if he plays like Dwayne Haskins did last week, literally none of it matters. That is the point of a quarterback. It can make you can have everything else together and nothing else will matter if the quarterback plays bad.
You want to know why that's BS? Because Cowboys went 13-3 with a rookie quarterback.
Dak played
Prescott.
great, and if you think that you're going to find a Dak Prescott in every draft, I'm
not saying you're going to find one every draft, but they didn't even think he was that when they picked him in the fourth round. They picked him in the supplemental fourth round.
They got lucky with Dak. Somebody did a good job with scouting him out. Maybe they went to the scouting academy.
They didn't even do that good of a job. Like I said, they picked him in the supplemental round of the fourth. So he wasn't even a fourth round pick. He was after the fourth. He was in between the fourth and the fifth. I don't know, man. I just don't want to see my team crippled because of a quarterback contract. That's all.
Joe Flacco was a screw up. But see, that's the thing. You got to make sure that your quarterback is competent. We all knew that Joe Flacco wasn't good, and he had the run, and they had to pay him. There's a difference between Dak Prescott and Joe Flacco in 2012.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Before he gets signed, I don't see. It sounds like the Cowboys are going to wait till the last minute on both him and Cooper to make their decision. We'll get some Cowboys experts in here and get some other opinions because we have hit on the Cowboys several times, and we need to get some other opinions on there and figure out what the best look
America's
is for
team.
them.
I mean, clearly the Cowboys are thinking the same thing because, I mean, if it was so easy, he would have been signed already.
Exactly. They want to make sure that and it seems like Jerry's getting that he's listening to the people around him. So I think that's a good thing.
No, just so you know, Jerry doesn't do the contracts anymore.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Nope. Jerry doesn't do anything. See, that I love it. That's the misconception of everyone because everyone thinks that Jerry does everything because he's in the mic. You know what I compare Jerry to? Your crazy uncle. He says whatever he wants, and all you say there's like, ha, 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 it's crazy Uncle Joe or whatever. But you let him say whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good analogy.
That's exactly what Jerry Jones is. Because when it comes down to the contracts, Steven runs the show. When it comes down to all that stuff, Steven and Will McClay run the show. Jerry doesn't even have a say in the freaking draft anymore.
Well, that's good to hear.
I mean, they like to let him think he does. But he doesn't. Because, again, if it were up to Jerry, we would have taken Johnny Manziel over Zach Martin.
It's a good thing that he's listening to the people around him, that he's allowed the control to move away because I think that's so important. You see these rich men that and I get it, they own it. It's theirs. That's fine. I understand that they want to build something that's theirs. They want their stamp on it. It's like the WWE with Vince McMahon and him.
BestFantasyFootballLeague.com. Join a 12-team Dynasty startup draft today. Leagues start at just $49 and go up to $999. Starting lineups of 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex spots. They also have best ball leagues, weekly leagues, and redraft leagues with 6 different starting lineup options in 10, 12, and 14 team leagues.
That's exactly what it was. It was Jerry's credit card approach. It was definitely Jerry's credit card approach to the salary cap. Because, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if Jerry managed our salary cap, do you think we would have $25 million in open cap right now and almost like $100 million next year?
Probably not.
Hell no. Hell no. Jerry would be like, spend that money. And Jerry's all about big splashes in the offseason, hitting the headlines and all that stuff. You know what I mean? He just wants to see ESPN and NFL Network talking about Cowboys 24/7. Where Steven's like, nah, man, I'm not hitting the first wave of the market. You know what? I'm probably not even gonna hit the second wave of the free agent market. I'm gonna wait till that third wave comes by.
If it's winning, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, it's winning is all that matters. I love just unleashing the Cowboys though, because you and Moz can go on the Cowboys for a while.
They're a very polarizing team.
They are, and then it is on Twitter and everywhere else too.
I want to argue about the Bucks next week. We get to talk about Jason's team so much.
That's because your team sucks, Moss.
Your team is 1 game better than my team right now.
But I think we all can agree that they're better than the Bucks.
Yes, obviously the Cowboys are better.
My wife is going to kill me if we take too much longer, or I would go into the Bucks because I have a whole thing on the Bucks because I was really in on the Bucks this year and they have burned me bad in fantasy. So we will save that for another day. But I think, Moss, you and I are going to go when it gets to the Bucks because I am really unhappy with OJ Howard and Jameis Winston right now. So, but that's going to have to be for another day. On that note, let's hear from our friends over at bestfantasyfootball.com. That's bestfantasyfootball.com. You can do all sorts of different things there. One of the most different kind of leagues out there. It's something that's kind of fun to check out. So make sure you do that. So we're going to, if you are here for the salary cap talk, you can go ahead and turn it off right now because I have asked the guys and they've obliged me on this. I got a little bit of a fantasy football rant that I've got to get out and I want their opinions on it. And it's bugged me all day today. I'm going to probably write an article on this too over at DFF.
Just tell them how you feel. Tell them how you feel, Troy. Tell them how you feel.
I drive a van for a living to fix things at different places. And all day I'm driving around this van just being madder and madder after I saw this post from my friend at Willie Beeman DFF. That's Willie BEAMAN DFF. He says, I was offered this trade and I accepted. My league is openly talking about vetoing it in a chat. He got the D-Hop side.
I saw that post. That was so dumb. Especially even in redraft, though, it would be a worse trade if it was Dynasty.
Is it a redraft trade? Okay, so that's not as bad. I didn't know it was redraft. I missed that. Let me get that far out, though. So the deal is Hopkins and Michael or Michelle. Hopkins and Michelle are one side. Sony Michelle and
it was Larry Fitz
Mark Ingram. So Hop and Michelle, Fitzgerald and Ingram. He got the Hop and Michelle side. The deal is probably more in his favor, but Hopkins has been down, so this guy probably just won it out for whatever reason, and I don't believe in Michelle at all. This deal to me is Hopkins for Fitzgerald and Ingram, and I would rather have Hopkins than Fitzgerald and Ingram, absolutely. But it's like, I just this whole thought of veto. So let me get to this first.
Only for obvious collusion.
It has to be obvious collusion. And your next move after you veto the trade is you kick the owners out.
Is to kick someone.
End of story. Yeah. And then if you got people talking about collusion and it's not, you get rid of them because you can't have these kind of people in your league. I cannot stand league vetoes. I have been in a home league for 10 years and we had this problem. We have never vetoed a trade in that league, not once. But we did have two owners use some other methods of collusion. They were brothers, and they were mad at one guy in the league, and they did collude to try to beat him one week. And one of the guys was a commissioner because we had a team of 4 commissioners because we all have lives and we're all busy and stuff. And I couldn't believe it when we really figured out what was going on that week, and we ended up. There was a vote to remove both guys. Before the vote got done, they both left. And that's what you do with collusion. If it's collusion, you kick the owners, period. Otherwise...
Man, but the collusion is really... I mean, how'd you guys prove that it was collusion? Because, dude, that's a really hard sell because I can always make an argument that I value this guy way more than others. And just because I value him higher than everyone else, that's on me.
Well, because so our situation wasn't a trade; it was they did some other stuff, and it's a long story. But it just all kind of rolled back to them. They were utilizing a loophole in the rules to do some things that weren't allowed in the league. But that's off subject. But I've heard of people talk about where they have interviewed the owners, and one of the owners will finally say, "Look, we were trying to do whatever. And I mean, fine if you don't, but at some point, if you think that these two owners are colluding, you have to put it to the league and you have to say, do we want to remove these guys because they're colluding? Because that is the only way you can veto a trade. It has to be collusions and you have to immediately remove the owners involved. Otherwise, there should never be a veto in any league unless, okay, if you're talking about public leagues, like you decided for whatever god-awful reason you went and signed up for a public league on ESPN or Yahoo or wherever, and you're playing with 9 guys you don't know, then yeah, I can see voting collusion in those kind of leagues. But if you're in a league where you know the people, you should know the people well enough, especially if it's a money league. Like, I don't know if this is a money league. I don't know if Beeman said or not. But if you, yeah, he said it was redraft. I missed that at first. If you, I mean, if you're playing for money, first off, you can't have vetoes because you got to let people run the teams the way they want. And I get it. When money's involved, it makes it even worse. But if you're accusing somebody of collusion, then you got to remove them from the league immediately following. It's just got to happen. But I am team #never veto. It, as you can tell, it's something that
#never veto. I'm putting that in my Twitter bio.
It just it pisses me off. That's what.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now. So my league, I'm in a money league, and it's Dynasty, obviously. And we actually, at first, we had, voting. Deals would get vetoed. And I'll be honest, I was on the end of a vetoing a lot of the times because people felt that, I mean, look, man, I wheel and deal for a living. So, I understand.
Yes, we get it. You play with 8th graders and people have handed you some terrible trade. I was handed a terrible trade and I hit accept and that was it.
Anyways, go on, Jason.
It's not an 8th grade league.
Well, you'd say the same.
Anyway, but the thing is, sometimes those vetoes actually saved my ass. I traded one time for Calvin Johnson the year before he retired.
Okay. That's why you never veto, because even trades that look lopsided, you never know, and you should let people take whatever information that they have.
I mean, I'm just looking through the comments on this because I couldn't see the comments when I was working today. I had time enough to respond.
I feel the same way.
And he had posted it in our private group, so that's why I had seen it originally. And, like everybody's saying, no veto should ever happen, but that is, he hosed the other guy. I absolutely agree. Even in a single-year redraft league, I mean, Hopkins is going to – but exactly. If you don't like the guy – don't put him in the league next year. If you think the guy's a bad manager, don't let him in the league next year, especially in a damn redraft league.
Well, the thing is, for redraft, I can understand a little bit more, but for Dynasty, if someone's willing to make a bad deal to screw themselves in the future, go for it, man. You're just making my job easier.
Let people manage their teams.
Like I said, I've got this 10-year league. There's 4 of us that are really good, 2 that are in the middle, and 4 that are pretty bad. And one of the guys is a horrible trader. He gets taken advantage of on every damn deal. But you know what? He's part of the league, and it's a free league, and it's a bunch of friends. And so he screws himself on these deals all the time. And we would never have vetoes. We did for a while do a thing where there was a period of time where people could jump in and make a better trade, and it was kind of exciting. And then we had one guy that used it to get out of trades after he realized he made bad trades. So and that's a long story too. That was out of Matthew Berry's book. One of our guys suggested it, and we did it for about 2 or 3 years, and that was great. But you got to figure out different ways to keep it. If you're worrying about collusion or whatever else, I mean, collusion should be a joke between friends. If you're saying collusion, like I have one league where every time the commissioner makes a trade, there's 6 memes about collusion because it's a joke. It's a joke in the league because it's a bunch of actually guys from Texas and myself and some other people that we met through one of the fantasy football groups. And that's how I met these guys. And we have a great time. And I've been playing with these guys for 3 years now, I think. And it's my favorite group of guys, we don't know everybody in person, and there's some money involved, and nobody would ever consider a veto on a trade. I mean, it bugs me. That's probably my least favorite thing in fantasy football is the veto question. And you see it once a day at least in the fantasy football groups, both Dynasty and Redraft on Facebook. And it just cannot happen. If you ever suggest to veto a trade, you are a horrible human being. Do not do it. Do not do it unless you.
Especially in Dynasty. Especially, like I said, especially in Dynasty, if it's a money league and guys are willing to throw their teams down the tube, it's one less team to worry about.
It's just crazy. Anyways, that's my tirade. Anybody got anything more?
Nope.
Hashtag never veto.
Hashtag never veto. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.